Now, here's another point. Why would Jesus ask the people, even the blind men, what would you have me do for you? Because he needs your permission to heal you, right? So again, that's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. Why does he need your permission to heal you? Because Satan has won temporarily, right? The earth, right? He's now the God of this earth, said Paul, right? So your problem isn't the God Jesus, who is still a God, right? Among the gods, right? But the firstborn of every creature too, right? I have said ye are gods. We're all gods to God, right? That's not the problem. We got enough God in us to get by for at least 120 years, right? Do you understand, right? Whoa. But the other problem is you can die under Satan, right? Why? He committed suicide. Read Ezekiel 31 over and over again, the whole chapter if you have to. I mean, guess who showed me that? Myself. Because I asked Jesus, what did the disciples teach from the Old Testament that they're no longer teaching on? Which is by implication what the seals are talking about. It's not the scriptures they're preaching on, it's what they're not preaching on. Right? Anymore, right? I keep telling you that, right? There's a whole Bible. It's like reading War and Peace, but only reading a few chapters of it, or going to a few verses of it, and thinking you are reading the whole novel, right? You're not. You're not. You're leaving some out, dummy. I mean, you don't even know how dumb you are. I mean, that's how dumb you are, right? And that's a shame, too, because God can't reach you then, right? You're still under Satan, and you don't even know it. Right. And he's good and evil. Meaning, he can be nice to you one minute and derelict the next, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Derelict means a derelict of duty, right? He's supposed to be on our side, but he's not no more, right? Right. His duty was to worship man as Jesus did, right? Jesus doesn't worship us in that he's praying to us like we're God, or going to us like we're God. What that means is he's serving us with God to love us. Satan just taught us the knowledge of good and evil, which means crime and punishment, right? For your mistakes, right? Unconditional love knows you're going to make mistakes, but it tries to teach you not to do it in the first place, right? But once you learn good and evil, you can do it at any time. And then Satan's done one, right? Temporarily. Now, like I said, what is 10,000 years to God, right? Or 20,000 years to God? That ain't even 3 weeks to us, right? But celestial time is as 1,000 years. Terrestrial time is as a day, right? 24 hours, right? Like I told you about the sun, its day is 30 days compared to the earth, right? Why? Because it rotates too, right? But at a slower pace, right? In other words, it takes 30 days to rotate as the whole universe actually is rotating, right? And it's also expanding out in case it becomes a red giant or something, or right? Dummy! Right. Think about it. If you're in the Goldilocks range now, right, as time goes on, the sun can get bigger and turn into a red giant, maybe. Well, that means the Earth needs to be a little bit further away sometimes, right? That's why it's maybe a planet. You're not thinking like God, who's running the whole universe, is. You didn't even know there were universes until you got your damn telescopes. And you thought it was one universe you were in, and you see now there's a damn Andromeda universe. And they're universes. And there are planets within planets, and see 2/3 are still in Jesus' son. And 1/3 is on Satan's side, right? That's the problem. Meaning 1 out of 3 planetary systems that could have life are just as messed up as us, and the other 2/3 aren't, right? You get it? Whatever you're pondering now, aliens, you're just breaching the surface. The thing is, the 2/3 are told not to really interfere with us because we won't hear them, right? We can't hear them. We're carnally minded, right? Human beings. We're easily distracted by the wrong knowledge, too, right? And there's so much in the universe you could be taught besides the truth, right? You could also never find it, as Paul said, right? You're ever learning, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth itself, right? You're distracted by just plain simple knowledge that God already knows, right? But your God, Satan, don't want you to know the truth. That's the whole problem. Yeah. Now, you know a little bit about Jesus. Probably 10 to 30% at the most right now. Right? Well, that's a dip in the bucket, right? That's just to get your feet wet, as they say, right? To get yourself totally immersed in Jesus means you need to be above 60 to 100, right? Well, you're what's called here, temperature-wise, cold. 0 to 10 is cold. 10 to 30 is cold. Going into 40 to 60, you're starting to be lukewarm. And 60 to 100 is what? Hot. Your scale is lower than you think because you're looking at Jesus as a simple male, right? That ain't even close, right? That's half the truth. See, that's what John means, right? You're lukewarm if you think he's only a man, right? And Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost only. But where's the Mother, Daughter, and Holy Ghost? So you got another side, right? To Jesus and God. The female side of God, right? There are goddesses. There are mothers, right? You need both to have one or the other two, right? There's the neck again. But the whole problem is Satan denies, right? And gets you to deny the half of the female, right? That's even in himself as a male, right? You understand? And you can't see the truth fully because Adam lied and repented, right? Meaning he admitted he ate of the truth, the tree, but distracted you by the word tree, right? Which is him pretending, well, you told me it was a tree to God, right? And you're doing the same thing now. Mm-hmm. But no, the Bible tells you the trees went out to make a king over them. What trees? The human trees, right? In Judges 9, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not getting past, right? What you are to God is an animalistic type tree that could move around, right? Your hair is your leaves, right? Right? Your arms, your limbs, your fingers, your branches, right? Right? You got digits, but instead of digits, trees have branches, right? Right. You got 10 on both fingers and toes, right? Right. They're an extension of your limbs, right? Just like a tree has branches and limbs and branches, right? And at the end of the branches are leaves, right? Like a Michael's leaf. What are these? Leaves. Your hair is your leaves. Your hair is your covering, right? That's what leaves do. They cover the tree and its fruit, right? During the spring and summer. Now, because of winter and fall and winter being colder, right? The tree loses its leaves, right? To keep itself, what's the word? Nourished, right? During the cold seasons, right? But then spring comes again and the leaves come back. Much like male pattern baldness, right? But the problem is, if you don't believe in Jesus, Jesus can't do nothing for you. Probably. So that's why I keep asking you. Every day you're on about my hair, but it ain't changed in 24 hours, so why aren't you getting what I'm saying, right? So you're trying to make me change my belief pattern when nothing's wrong with it, right? Nothing's changed. Every day it's the same. It's going out. It's a little bit higher on the right still. It's a little bit lower on the left still, and it ain't changing. Now, this is your delusion, right? This is where your delusion comes in, right? The right side being a little bit higher is not the whole hairline receding back into the skull and going back up and higher and back further, right? On the skull, to where there's a little bit hair on the back of the hair, but head. That's receding, right? This ain't receding, right? And no matter how many times you're delusional about it, it ain't receding yet either. And as long as it's not, I don't have to agree with you, right? You gotta agree with me until it does, right? But writing me every day about it ain't gonna change what it's doing now. Do you understand? You can write me about it, you can disagree. And maybe, 30, 40 years, you might be right. When I'm 90 or 100, I don't know. Right. See, you're looking externally, right? Only. Well, even that, you're deceiving yourself. I can't help that, right? It bothers you too, doesn't it, right? It's not receiving. It's not at your word, but mine. It's my hair, right? By your receipts or not, right? Now, what's going on is, say your dad loses his hair, right? At a certain age, too, right? Well, one, he tells you, well, son, I lost my hair, so you're going to lose your hair, too. Dick, but he is, but he's telling you the truth. The problem is also, my dad had hair on his head till he was 30 and shot and murdered at 31, right? My uncles, too. My other uncle is Marcel, and he's from the Lancaster line. He's got a good set of hair for his age. He's in his 70s, right? Dion, too. Probably Brian, too. I think that was his name. Whatever. I don't see Brian a lot, either. But again, say Francis has one naughty gene and one, right, good gene, right? If that went on to Brian or whatever, right, Dion, right, but still, right, Dion's maybe 1 or 2 years older than me and Brian's 1 or 2 years younger than me, right. But they're my cousins, right, from the Lancaster line. I'm a Lee Lancaster line, right. The Lee line had their hair until their 70s and 80s too, right? My Uncle Ronnie had hair at 65, so, and a good set of hair, right? So that could be the left side, right? If the right side is the Lancaster side, then that could be reversed, I don't know. Whichever's which, right? Well, the female side is usually the left side, and the male side is usually the right side, right? But they're supposed to work together as a team, see? Jesus asked you a question. Let not the left know what the right is doing? Right. Well, then you're what? Right. Everywhere, anywhere, all at once, right? I don't know, right? I thought you were supposed to be more ambidextrous, which means you use both hands for certain things and both hands together, right, too, at certain times, right? Or independently of one another. See, that's the point, right? The truth is, some things you need to use both hands together, right? And some things you need to do it independently of each other, right? See, that's niching something he's pointing out, right? When you can do the same thing as the right and left, though, you're called ambidextrous, right? Right. If you can write good with the right hand but not the left, you're considered right-handed. Same if you're left-handed, right? If you write good with your left hand, you're left-handed, right? Now, these are, again, traits from the Father to the Son, right? Again, right? Now, you could also be mean like your daddy, or you could be nice like your mama. There again, right? So your daddy abandoned you or something, right? Well, that makes your daddy the butthole, right? And a bad daddy, right? And one of those rambler type daddies too. And because of Satan, he can be that way. Yet the way Jesus covers the sin is that man still don't know what he's doing is wrong, right? Just like when I was with Sheena, I don't know what she's thinking to be with me, but I thought we were on the same page, right? But if she's acting weird about being with me, we weren't, were we? No, no. She was seeing something I didn't know she was seeing, that had I known she was seeing, it could have changed the whole outcome, but I don't know why still, right? And it's not rape to have premarital sex if you could see it, right? Meaning you let me do what I'm doing with you downstairs as well as upstairs, right? 2 downstairs. Now, I'm taught in this Hollander's book, right, that a little lesbian action, too, goes a long way. Now, Miss Lesbian Chain, which is why I say I'm gay, too, by the way. But I'm a lesbian. Yeah, it means I lick something other men don't normally lick. For free. Now, they might lick it if you pay them or get married to them. Some might not, right? Still, even then. But I learned about lesbian action. That means you're licking downstairs, or opening, right? Read Song of Solomon again, or do I have to read it for you? Again. Now, he puts his hand towards her latch to open the door. What do you think that means, right? And she's sitting in his shadow with her mouth on his fruit. What do you think that means, right? The male has the fruit. The seed comes out of the mouth. Metaphorically, right? The female is the ground. The egg, like in the chicken egg, goes down into the fallopian tube, released from the ovary, right? And goes down into the fallopian tube, into the womb, and the sperm and the egg meet and to become one flesh, like Moses said, right? The sex act is having her to wife, or a man to husband, even without a legal ceremony, right? No. Right. 2 of the women Jacob was with are concubines, right? Bilhah and Zilpah. Given to them by his wife because they're competing for the number of babies, and Rachel can't have a baby for some reason. She's not conceiving, or again, Leah's with him when she's ovulating, and then he has to be with Rachel, but it's too late, and he missed his window, which is only a 24-hour window, right? To get pregnant, right? You can't be with both Leah and Rachel and get them both pregnant at the same night, right? One, your sperm depletes if you're with Leah first. Then you go trying to be with Rachel, but your sperm count is lower and it don't get to her egg in time, right? That's another reason you can't have 2 wives faithfully, right? If you're with one first and the other second, right? You only got a 24-hour window to get her pregnant, right? If you're with Leah first and she's getting pregnant, and then you're with her sister the following night, you done missed your window, because they also ovulate together, right? You're with her at age like. Now, if you're with both women, see, this is a menage a trois you do. By the way, you might can get them both pregnant. Now, like I told you, most tarot card readers you go to, right? You got to go to their little shop, right? Well, Daphne brought one to me, right? Well, at the end of the reading, this never happened to me before, right? So I get undressed under the covers. I didn't show the girl my nudity, but I got undressed under the covers, right? That's the cover, whatever the tarot card reader was showing me the tarot cards, because I'm not really a tarot guy, tarot card type guy, right? It's like with the Ouija board too. Now it was working, but I also could scare the shit out of you because of what happened with Connie, right? And Brian, right? Another Brian, but right. I know 2 Brians in the trailer park alone, right? And there was a Brian harassing me at school too, right? Again, the common name, but it don't mean all Brians are the same. We got Governor Brian and all that, but but his last name was Kemp, coincidentally. So was my step-grandfather, Kemp, and his son, Tony Kemp, and he's my half-uncle. Through Miss Kemp right now. Though Billy might be through another dude, right? And altogether, Miss Kemp had about 5 sons and 1 daughter, I think, right? Or 4. Yeah, 5, I was right. Ronnie, Russell, Bobby, Tony, and Billy. That's 5. And 1 girl, Christina or Tina, right? Right. So when you said Tina, whatever the hell the last name was, right? Whether you knew it or not, coincidentally, that's my aunt's name, idiot. So I'm all confused about what the hell's going on with you, right? But you are being silly if you had sex with a man and didn't even know he was a man, which means your glasses aren't helping you see straight, right? Like in my cousin Vinny, right? What you thought you saw, which was a pretty man, right? Who looks kind of girlish, wasn't what I really was. And when we were under the tree, my penis and tongue went inside of you, but you didn't know which was which, did you? Right? You also use your fingers if you're a female. The female, right? I learned that with Maribel. But again, right, staying was the problem with her. Commitment was the problem with her. And I'm warning her behavior might make me cheat on her even though I love her and need her, right? I think, right? In the song portion of my speaking in tongues to her, right? But I don't know verbatim, right? Word for word what I said or what order I said it in, right? I'm not a speaker of her language, right? When I did that, that's called speaking in tongues, right? And that's a gift of the Holy Ghost, right? Like with an apostle speaking to those from other countries around them who heard them praising God in their own tongue, right? So if I spoke to her in Tagalog, well, I never picked up a Tagalog phrase but until after, and that's because I was trying to figure out what I said to her, and she didn't really want to tell me, right? I know. Now, the first part, I think, was, again, a non-ginagawa mo, pakingan mo ako, hindi siya, or not them, right? However you say that accurately. But the phrase book said hindi siya can mean not them, right? I don't know if it's right or wrong, but right. And then I think I sung to her, I love you. I miss you, I love you, I need you, don't make me cheat on you or something like that, right? But that wouldn't be found in the phrase book at all, right? Necessarily, right? Maybe I love you, but not don't make me cheat on you, right? I don't even know what the word cheat is in the phrase book because I didn't go over that portion, right? I would say that in the Tagalog language, right? And why? Because people can cheat. And by her behavior, right, she was acting more like she was in a relationship with Steve to get away from Bart, and then me to get away from Steve because she didn't want Steve or Bart anymore, right? And then she was with me, right, to kind of play me and Steven against each other, right, until the end, right, which I got fed up with that, right? You understand, right? If that's what she was doing. Of course, she was flying out her butt, right? If that was what she was doing too, right? Well, see, like I said, I don't know Stephen from a hill of beans that he took off down the interstate with her, right? Well, of course your boyfriend's going to follow some strange man taking you some down towards Richmond Hill, right? Richmond, Virginia, right? I don't know where he's taking you. I don't trust the man, right? You're telling me he's Bart's liaison to make sure you don't date nobody else or something, right? And then he takes you off down the interstate. I don't know, he's not kidnapping you. Right. Exactly. But I didn't do it again either, did I? No. If he takes you off, you go with him, fine. If he kidnaps you again, I don't give a damn, right? See, that's making me sear my love for you and not trust you and care if I want to make sure you're safe with the guy you're with, right? I don't know him. I don't really know you that well. We're just having sex. But it seems to be how you're seeing it, but not me. I'm calling it making love, right? Feel like making love. Well, see, that song's on here and during the 70s, right? Now, if you're a closed-off little Pentecostal girl like Sheena, right, and I'm a man of the world, too, right, by the time I meet her, I'm 23, right, I know what making love is, consensual sex is, but she still might not know what it really is, right, and pretend I raped her, too, right? No, no. See, raping you is not getting permission to do something when you gave me permission to do something, but you had the false pretenses, right? Yourself. You thought I was a girl, didn't you? Well, I'm in a bikini. They're called bikini speedos, right? For a male, right? I guess. Now, the Bible also says this about the women of the gay men, that even their women did use the natural use of the man, women with women working that which is unseemly. That's Romans chapter 1. So if you thought I was a woman and you were accusing me of sinning, right, you sinned first. You thought I was a woman and I was a man. You didn't even verify what I was. You didn't ask me yourself. Right? So I didn't know you were thinking I was a woman. No. I thought you knew I was a male. It's not like also I'm going to do something with the redhead and then go do something with you. I like you a little bit more because of my dream about the redhead, right? I done had sex with one, so I wasn't going to do it again. Except with the bigger girl, which that was before I met you too, but that was in Boston and in the USO, and she looked different than the girl in the dream, so I was with her, but she was on top, you see what I mean? The girl in the dream was, I was making love to her. In the process, I was trying to pull out or something, right? Would you only do that if something's off, right? Well, instead of letting me pull out, she held me in with her feet, right? And wrapped her legs around me. And what that means, pull out, right? I don't normally have that problem with having sex with a woman either, but it's a weird dream I had when going out to the church, and the pastor was talking about units or something, right? And even then, if you've had sex even for the church, usually you're saved by grace, but he won't let you be part of his unitship program or something, I heard, right? That's why I didn't really join it either. I don't know what's going on in my life, but right. At 16, I was blacked out in a car wreck after dropping my stepbrother off at his girlfriend's house, and I know something happened worse than I thought it was. Not because of what I thought initially after the wreck itself. I just thought maybe I was in a wreck and it was minor damage or something, right? The more damage to the car, and the car's supposed to protect you a little bit, right? Anyway, so I just thought it kind of knocked me out when the windshield hit my head, right? But looking at the x-rays now, it looks like I was hit over the head with a bat, maybe. And hell, I'm not going to remember what actually happened to knock me out. That's called knocking someone out and cause a memory loss. You can do that too. For at least a few hours, right? But if I'm losing an hour, we're doing something more than the nails, honey. That's all I'm saying. We're either talking about something, arguing about something, or doing something. Come on. Could be all three. And we're not going to go that far for an hour's worth of sex, but we could go into the bathroom. That's all I'm saying, right? And I have done it with the girl in her store she was working in. It wasn't a nail salon, a convenience store, but I told my friends about it, and like in Pit House Forum, I have one of those weird type sex encounters. Because, see, some people know you can have sex here, there, and anywhere. And some people only do it in the bedroom, right? But ain't it those who do it in the bedroom that are the Jezebels who will kill her children with death, right? That is an abortion, by the way, Christians. And the problem is Jezebel don't believe in our Jesus yet. You can't make her like a Christian woman who won't abort her child, right? Well, you can't kill the child, like I told you, like with the baby Quentin and all that, after he's born either. You're a murderer, you go to fucking jail for life, right? I mean, you'll get out of that shit once the boy's born, right? That's just pure stupidity on your part, and you're going to jail. You're going to rot in jail. That's what happens when you murder a child. Right. After he's born, it's murder. Now, the child develops in 3 stages, right? And what they try to do is do it before the 3rd trimester. Why? Because he's less of a full-grown baby, right? You know? That's why. I don't know. Brian. Now, you don't know everything, Governor. And if you are the governor, that's fine. I get your rule. I don't have to play by it, though. The women do, and they don't like it. I'm a man. I can knock up your wife, your 3 daughters, and get them all pregnant. But I don't go after them because I respect your marriage. Right? I respect your daughters, right? I wouldn't necessarily do that, but I could, you know what I mean? And I bet you would feel like aborting my children by your wife or your 3 daughters. Even if you don't, that's the same sin of adultery if you look upon a woman to lust after them, right? And that's what it means too, right? Right. You're being self-righteous, right? Not with your body, but with another woman's body that ain't your wife, right? That's why it's wrong. Trying to explain it to them, ladies of the view, from a male perspective. Some people don't get it. It's her body that has to carry your crappy child with your crappy attitude for 9 damn months in her body. Right? No. If you're a dick, she don't want to have your dick baby either, right? Male or female. No. So it's more than that, too, right? She can also tell if you're one of those type who say, I love you to get to her pants. Brian. Is it innocent? Not yet. Yeah. We're still under the seals, right? The seals are still being sealed, right? As long as the seals are being sealed, you're still not going to be to the full knowledge of the truth, though you're ever learning, right? What you want to know, not what you don't want to know, right? Not what you're supposed to know either, which is 2 different things, right? Or 3. There's so much in the universe, like I told you before, you can learn a lot of shit and still not know the truth, right? And you can also make up so much fictional stuff, you don't care about the truth either. Well, that's what he means about being a talebearer, only, and refusing to see the truth, right? There's nothing wrong with a few tales here and there. But when you only make up fictional stories and it becomes your whole life, like in the movie area, it becomes a problem for the truth, because you can make up so many different stories using the same general characters, right? Even Dungeons and Dragons is based off of King Arthur, right? And stories like that, right? And Charlemagne, or what's his name, and the dragon, right? I forget who it was, but whoever fought the dragon, right? There's even St. George who fought the dragon, I think, right? In ancient mythology. So you're taking those stories and making it Game of Thrones and all that, right? We know what you're doing. You're just taking stories from the past, revamping them into the future, right? And telling a slightly different version of St. George killing the dragon, right? Or the dragon actually being on the side of St. George and fighting for St. George in a way. In a way. That's what you're doing too, right? And it's the same problem, right? It's the same situation, right? You got Game of Thrones or, House of Dragons, right? Whatever. And it's all about the dragon, right? And again, right? And a bigger dragon, of course, can kill a littler dragon, and there you go again, right? Obviously. And his rider. And the man's blaming the dragon because the dragon knows he really wants to kill the child, right? Mm-hmm. And the dragon, right? If you watch House of Dragons, you know what I'm talking about, right? Right. Well, then you had Dragon Riders of Turn by, I think, Andrews or something. A woman wrote about dragons even, right? And, now, or you have, the Black Dragon and whatever, How to Train Your Dragon, right? That's still the same myth or same idea, except you're trying to tame the dragon instead of slaying the dragon, right? And you find one that's willing to work with you and and it is different than the other dragons too, so right, you form a bond with it, right? And then the other dragons learn, hey, human people aren't that bad, right? And vice versa, right? You learn the dragons weren't that bad, you become friends, right? When once you were enemies, that's what Jesus means. Pray for your enemies. Bless those who curse you, right? Because they once were your friends. They weren't even concerned with you until they started trying to conquer everybody around them, right? And then they're just being dicks. Russia and Ukraine fighting over a little port. You're both dicks to each other. I mean, you both want to fight for the port one way or the other, right? You want to keep your land and they want to take it back, right? It used to be their land, actually. Technically, you were part of Russia, right? So, of course, you're going to fight over the Port Mariupol, right? But that's called a war and then rumors of wars. And he's threatened us not to give him our missile system, and you know what he's going to do. He said, fuck you, Putin. And Putin said, well, fuck you, Mr. President. Right. Now, that's hypothetical, but literal, too, right? But I'm not Putin or Mr. Biden, right? Or President Biden, right? My job is to talk to you and try to get both sides, as say an ambassador of Jesus, right? To stop the fighting if I can too, right? I'm supposed to be what's called neutral, like Switzerland, right? I don't want America and Ukraine to not have the port that Russia covets, right? But I know Russia's coveting the port, and I'm telling you the problem is they want the port back. Right? Now, if like Jerusalem, you want to divide it half and half, I mean, that could be a solution, right? But I don't know. If Russia would go for that or something. Jerusalem was divided into 3 sections, the Islam, the Jewish, and the Christian quarter. Though it just recently was made the capital of Israel, right? Which, Christians don't really mind that, but the Muslims do, right? But that's still 2-1, right? And neither one considers the Muslims actually true followers of Jesus because they're a little bit confused about him being the Son of God, right? Though that's part of the problem with the Jews. They don't understand how he's the Son of God either, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're from the same book, but neither one of you are fully reading it, you're both wrong. Or all 3 of you are wrong. Right? That's the point. if there's a third of the scriptures you're not teaching, for example, and you're teaching the other 2/3, right? You're still missing a third of what God's saying to the old, right? Mm-hmm. And Jesus only had the old when he was preaching, right? There was no new till his death on the cross, and he went to the back from heaven, right? Then Paul started with some letters to the churches he was forming, right? During that time, some people started writing the Gospels, right? Mm-hmm. Mark first, I heard, right? Then whatever, or Matthew, Luke, or John, or whatever, right? But John is Mark. His name is John Mark. Mark is his surname. It could mean thunder, I don't know. He's son of thunder, right? Thunder could be the surname, and it could be what Mark means, I don't know. Possibly. I know. I'm guessing, right? It don't really confirm that either with the name Mark, but some people goes over their head, right? Right. And then Acts, right, which had to do with Paul's ministry too, right? All this is being wrote though in the first century. Even if they're making copies, idiots, and you use the one you have the most, right? Also meaning you gotta make more copies as it degrades on papyrus, right? Because when you're using papyrus writings, right, you gotta make copies, and that's what you see the monks doing in the monasteries and all that, right? They're making copies of the Bible, copying it faithfully, but sometimes even Paul could be a carnal man against women, right? Especially when it comes to Timothy, right? So first he's praising his grandmother and mother, but then when we get to chapter 2, he talks about a woman usurping authority over a man, and he sounds a little carnal towards women because there's one woman who did have authority over men, and her name was Deborah. No. She commanded Barak to go into battle for the Lord, right? Not just her, Huldah taught Uriah, I think, one of the kings, right, of Israel, how to understand the law. And she was in the college. That's called Midrash, I think, in Hebrew. Now, Jews go to colleges or to learn the Torah. But Huldah proves in the old women can go to the Midrash too, right? And even be rabbi. So they're Rabbi in the Hebrew word. Now it's actually Rabbi or R-A-B-Y, right? Or a double B sometimes, or a V, right? Or B, right? Do you hear me? Right? One B without the dot could be a B, the other B could be a double B. Who was a stutterer? Moses. Baba. Da. Papa. Certain letters are double because what? Moses was a stutterer. Right. Just like one of these country singers, I forgot his name, right? Merle Haggard or something like that. One of them was, right? He was originally a stutterer, but stutters can sing that. That's why John talks about the Song of Moses, remember? In chapter 15 of Revelations. The 144,000. Now, they're supposed to be units, right? Meaning unmarried men. So, they would say, the problem is he's teaching them to touch themselves. Together, two men. That's going a little queer, right? A little gay. Now, I'm not saying, okay, if you're consenting, it's not a crime either, right? By the way, if you're over 18 and you're two consenting males, that's okay. Just keep it strictly to the masturbation. And if someone don't want to do it, don't try to force them, right? Either. They can say no or yes. If you say no or yes, you're going into a little bit of homosexual behavior, right? Because a homosexual prostitute We'll give you a hand job for a price, right? Or a blow job for a price, or sex for a price, right? Same with a female prostitute, right? They do the same things, except it's the flip side. And with a female, you got a vagina and a butt. Like I said before, I know everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad and ugly. And the heavenly side. That's called knowing your role, jabroni. As The Rock will say. But that's his role. And see, he's running the rest of the world. I'm not. Right? His father was in it. His mother's mother was in it. Right? Right. So that's perfect for him, right? But I'm not in it. I'm in Georgia, born to a middle class family, right? The good, the bad, and ugly. The good, the bad, and ugly. And everybody can be good, bad, or ugly sometimes. But then you gotta go to love. Love's going to leave me. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it is. Really. Here come the stepper, what up, I'm the lyrical gangster, what up, excuse me, Mr. Officer, what up, still love me like that, what up, no, we don't die, yes, we multiply. See, I can do voices, man. Ching. And like Jimmy Fallon, but unlike Jimmy Fallon, I don't have what's called the hookup. But I don't get mad with Jimmy. I'm happy for him. I could have been him if I knew what to do. And that's all. Right. And my main job is I learned the Bible back then, back in front. Right. See, the seals that are being sealed are written on the what? Back in front of the book, right? And they're written in the book. And people aren't, teaching that anymore. Until the 3rd century, right? When the Orthodox, male-dominated fools they are, and took over the church. From the Gnostics, who were actually more popular at the time, right? But more willing to tolerate sin. But if you don't tolerate sin, you condemn your own sin, right? That's the irony, and right, Olenus, right? Right. It's a little too ironic, don't you think, right? I can do it. We're already paid. Now you can do it. And whoever thought it'd be good? In my own voice too, right? I don't know. Gladys would have to hear about me somehow. I never wrote the woman. I wouldn't even write her fan club because I know that has nothing to do with her, or stalk her to her home, or find out her home address and write her there. Only if I'm dating someone and I'm confused, well, I write you, right? Trying to communicate, right? That's what I was taught to do, right? If someone's confused, you try to communicate to them, Sheena Johnson or Mariah Bells. And you're communicating because you know you're being shown shit nobody wants to deal with anymore, right? And it ain't been nothing with it in 1,700 years, right? And it don't bother you, but it bothers other people. You realize that when you read it off the gospel, they don't want to do this shit. They don't want to do this shit. So you get it immediately, but they don't. Right? There's a I never heard that. That's wrong. Now you're the liar. Sure. You're such a good liar, you don't know you're lying anymore. After 1,700 years, yeah. You convince yourself of your lying. I can't undo your lie. I can only tell you, you're lying too. Problem is, you're condemning a liar like you're not lying too, and you're lying too. There's more in heaven and earth than little bean can perceive. I know. Maybe more planets, alien hunters, but don't focus on the aliens who came here. Maybe they weren't supposed to. Maybe they were bad gods, and they are if they're deceiving mankind, right? And there are good gods and bad gods too, right? Just like there could be good men and bad men too, right? Or good women and bad women too, right? Just simply good and evil to each other too, right? When they choose to be, I'm gonna be good today and then I'm gonna be bad tomorrow, right? Like the medication and all that crap. Now, how do I know, right? The furosemide, right? From the furosemide, right? Well, there's a way to know. This, for example, is amlodipine. And there's a what? Label. They be on the label. So if you look among your medications and you don't find the furosemide, what does that mean? The furosemide is missing. The furosemide is missing. Right. Now let's do it like my cousin Diddy. Furosemide, right? And you're going to see it backwards. It's F-U-R or MID, right? So it's F-U-R-O-S-E-M-I-D-E. And how many milligrams is it? 40 milligram tablets, right? Now, yesterday, this is the 20 milligrams, I think. So you mean 20 milligrams. Supposed to give me 40, but that's all right. I need a temporary refill, right? But that means I have to take 4 to equal the other one, but I found the other one when I came back from the hospital. That's strange, right? But I looked among medications before I went out to the hospital, dummy. I looked for it first. Didn't find it in the crowd. And the first thing I do when I get back, guess what? It's right there in front, right? Bullshit! Someone took that crap from my house when I was out, right? Now, I don't know who. I don't know when. I just know I was looking for it for the last 3 days and my blood pressure was going up. And it was over 200, right? And I got the paperwork from yesterday, too, right? To show you that, too, right? And see, I look after myself even if no one else does, right? 203.96, right? 99 pulse, which that's not too bad as long as it's under 100, right? Oxygen, 96%. Temperature, 97.9. Respiration, 12. And I also got to make an appointment with Dr. Kathy Chu today for a follow-up in 1 day. Around 12/16/2022. So that's what I'm going to do next, right? See, I take care of myself because no one else is going to. That's why I had to learn the hard way, too, even with my disability, right? Even though I can't walk or, right, like I used to could, I still try. Oh, this is chick from Dance Moms, all right. But she's looking good now, but I heard she's gay, but I'm cool with that. Now, if she wants to have a little bit of extra try, I don't mind that either. That's up to her, you know what I mean? Okay, that sounds fun. But if you judge somebody, you don't, understand them, right? No one wants someone who is argumentative with him, right? But see, once she hits 18, she can be with whoever she wants. You know what I mean? Woman or man, right? But don't judge her. Don't say, "Oh, you're right. I'm breaking you off. You're gay." I don't know. Right? People can change their mind, and even then, if she don't, she don't. Right? That's cool too. Just let her be her. That's the point. That's what Jesus does. He can't control everybody. He ain't trying to. Though Satan is trying to. You get the point? Right? And making things a bigger deal than they are. Well, I know what lesbian sex is. I read about it. See what I mean? I didn't do it. I'm not an actual woman. Nor has I ever been with a man. Right? But that's the point. That's the point. I'm not either man. I understand both the woman point of view who want a man and the woman point of view who don't. Well, of course, I'm a male who don't too, so there you go. Right? It don't even tempt me that idea of putting it up the butt. But if you done it or you were raped into it or whatever, I understand that too. Right? I mean, right? And or whatever situation you're in, maybe you feel more accepted by the gay community than the straight community, and so you go gay. I understand, right? Like in the movie about the Marine, who the guy wants to join the Marines, right? Which is upcoming, right? But I think she's cute, but I don't know if she'll be into older men or anything either, right? That's all I can say about it. Well, she can't say teeth of it's up to her what she wants, right? And I would tell her this: I will not try to seduce you, but you have a choice, right? You can say yes or no, right? To anything you want to do, gay, straight, bi, whatever, right? No monkey on my back. No monkey on my back. No monkey on yours. I don't know. Well, see, here's the thing. If you want a baby, you need sex or a sperm donor, and that's a hospital procedure, and that's complicated. Rather than 5-10 minutes of sex with me, and then bam, you have a baby. You gotta do it at the right time, though. And once you do it, it should be done. It should be done only once, even. Right? If you do it right, you can time that stuff, right? So, but see, you can't do it on birth control pills because it might backfire, maybe. Steven? Right. Reason is you're trying to do it like you're not on birth control for a while. Then you miss one pill or two, right? And then the next thing you know, you're ovulating a week later, right? For when you actually took it, right? Or missed it, right? So you don't know if you ovulate 24 hours later or a week later, right? And if it's a week or so later, you got pregnant by me. Trying to treat me, and I told you not to make me cheat on you either. If we both cheated, I bet we cheated at the same time. If we weren't trying to save people all the time, right? I guess, unless I only cheated on you. But still, I cheated, right? Because of lack of commitment. Mm-hmm. The commitment, right, after 18 months of bullshit, you get fed up with it. Not that I'm not trying to stay faithful the whole time either, but I'm being tempted by even the upstairs neighbor. But not sure we done nothing, but she got a jealous boyfriend. But he would have had to kill me with a sword. And I resurrect like the Wolverine. Oh. Well, then you should have made sure your girl was safe. She didn't feel safe if she come downstairs and had sex with me. Right. And I would tell her, well, I'm having girlfriend problems too, and I don't know what to do. It's up to you, right? We can have sex, so I can definitely get it up for you, baby. I wasn't no. But I say, well, I'll make it, if you're on top, I won't feel as guilty. And that's about all I think I would say to her, though. She can be on top if she wants to. Dumbass. Right? Leaving her in the damn apartment by herself. But you expect her to do, right? If we did something or not, I don't remember either, right? See, that's where I'm making something up that I'm not sure happened, but could have happened, right? Say, well, the stepdaughter, I'm making up something that might could happen, but I don't know if it really happened. If it happened that night, I would be in jail. But who's saying, okay, I felt sorry for him because I left him stranded in Tennessee so he could molest my daughter. that sound right either? No. Oh, well, I left you straight in Tennessee so you can molest my daughter for a minute, right? And then bring her back to me. Tell me, maybe. I don't know. Well, there are not a lot of people who can know, right? Whoever's pretending they know, if they knew, they would have went after me then, too, right? They didn't. They, too, had to wait till I got on YouTube, right? No. And no one brought it up until YouTube. What about that, Steve Wilco? Do you think I could pass a lie detector test to say I didn't molest my stepdaughter? Yeah, I do too. Good bastard. Yeah, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Never have to make it up. And even making it up makes me think, well, what if it happened, man? I just don't remember really stuff like that, right? But I know I couldn't do nothing because the mom's there. Come on. I'm not that crazy, right? Might be crazy, but I ain't dumb like Crazy Guru, but come on. And these are shows I'm watching going on, right? And some of the shows talk about rape of a woman and how it's not fun for her, and I got that. So I'm not going to touch my little stepdaughter, but I'm going to have her go to the bathroom or something, but if it got weird, I don't know, right? See, it gets weird if she's supposed to go to the bathroom and she sticks around me in the bathroom. They're going to think, what else is wrong, right? That might smell her or something. Does she pee or anything? Even if I'm not saying it, that's probably what I'm thinking, right? You know, and then I'm like, well, does she need a bath? Did she pee herself or something? Like, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. Don't have a clue, right? Nor do you me, but you can't read my mind because of weird intentions when you're suddenly thrust into an awkward situation. Now, was I in an awkward situation with my stepdaughter? I can simply say possibly. Not sure 100%. Because someone brought it up to YouTube, right? Now, my ex-wife, she's cutting off her own nose to spite her face. You know what that means, right? If I told her, she's the only one who can remember, right? But the other option is, did stepdad or biological dad coach her? Because see, stepdad didn't meet her until after he was with biological dad, right? For 4 days. That really gives me an alibi, right? And the ex-wife had to drive 19 hours from Arkansas the next day before she got back, right? Which was Sunday night, right? I remember that too, right? But I don't remember for sure if she would be up or not because it would be brief, right? Especially after 11 years, right? That ain't even my issue the whole time with Daphne, right? The issue was she early leaving me stranded in Tennessee anyway, not that. That wouldn't even be a bump in my radar, right? I know. If she did or didn't wake me up, right? And I'm not sure, right? See, once you go to sleep and someone wakes you up, it will seem like a dream anyway, like I keep telling you, dummy, right? If you wake up or not, right? That's what I keep saying. That's why in the book, ghostwriter Chris Stoltz Walker, sorry Chris, I have to use your name again. Well, you did an interview with me, come on, right? So am I really exposing anything any different than Ewan McGregor writing for Pierce Brosnan and the ghostwriter? Right? No. People understand that concept. And you got a little bit wrong. I really fell probably more 30 feet than 40 feet, right? So they talked about the little boy who was thrown down in the ball, but it's a 20-story fall, or 40 feet fall, I mean, a 2-story fall, or a 3-story fall, right? Okay. How tall are the stories? 20 feet? 20 feet, right? Usually they're, this here is just what? 8 there, probably 10 there, and then back down to 8. This is called a cathedral. My little cathedral here. Roof. I'm a church now. I'm an ordained minister, even if I'm not getting any money for my church stuff. But I did apply for a business license because I'm what's called a sole proprietor of my church. As one of the 2 witnesses might have to be his own sole Two. My job is to open the scriptures you won't teach anymore, because you pretend you don't understand them, like Isaiah 66 that talks about suckling at the breast of a king, right? Single, shad, shadeen. For a female, cha,